Hello. Welcome back to the Gay Racing Podcast. Zack and Alex Alex is jamming.
I love the new intro music you got here, Zack.
We got some music, man. We are just jamming. Hope you enjoyed it. We're trying new things over here at the Gay Racing Podcast for Pride Month. And we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. Before we get into I don't know if the races this weekend were more or less dramatic than last week. I feel like we have a lot to talk about. But Alex, we had the opportunity to interview one of our favorite guests ever.
Yes.
Last week, Travis Shoemake. He's been on the podcast before. He is an openly gay drag racer in the NHRA, and we got to catch up with him last week. In case you missed that, Alex. And we talked about a lot of cool things. He's an owner now for his drag racing team, and we talked about other things like sponsorship, the struggles of that.
He's friends with Tony Stewart, and
Tony Stewart's an ally.
How Tony Stewart's an ally, and how Tony Stewart's very interested in his career. He's battling Tony Stewart for Rookie of the Year in the NHRA right now. It's a lot about sponsorship and how a lot of corporations will say they're for Pride and everything, but won't put money towards a Pride LGBTQ driver.
They'll barely put a rainbow on the car.
Yeah. A very vague rainbow on the car, for example. But yeah, go check that out. We had so much fun. It's only I think it's 37 minutes long. It's pretty short compared to most episodes. Check that out after this episode. It's really great.
It's one of our best episodes ever. So yeah, after you listen to us talk some crap about whatever happened at IndyCar at Road America and NASCAR Sonoma, we're gonna talk about so what's the rundown today? We're gonna talk about NASCAR Sonoma, and then we're gonna talk about IndyCar at Road America. We're gonna do it in that order. It's a little bit backwards. But then again, the races ran at the same time, so it really doesn't matter. Hell,
F1, that was about to happen at the same time as those too.
3 of my screens. We will talk about Formula One a little bit. So our Formula One fans, oh my gosh, cheer. Yes. We're going to talk about Formula One a little bit today. We actually watched and enjoyed the race yesterday, the Canadian Grand Prix. So
crazy.
I'm having a great day, as you can tell. Wearing my Larson jersey. Kyle Larson gets his 3rd one of the year. Yay. What a great way to rebound from the waiver allegations, the waiver allegations. The waiver. I don't know. I just like saying the word allegations. Even when it doesn't make sense.
If you didn't know, he did get the waiver.
Oh, Thank God. That was news this week. Yeah, because it took forever to... Yeah,
that's over with. And to make things better, he is now the points leader, and he did win at Sonoma.
Yeah, so, he got the regular season championship lead back from Hamlin, and I think... Denny Hamlin's
engine blew up on lap 3. So...
He's got the most playoff points, I think. I think. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, so he's the number 1 seed as it stands. 10 races till the playoffs start. So, yay me!
Yay!
I love Kyle Larson. He's such a man.
And this race at Sonoma, so for all clarity, we were trying to watch IndyCar at the same time. And I was focusing on IndyCar.
Yeah.
In the first 2 stages, from what I saw, I had it on my laptop, but I was focusing on Indy. Just a lot of cautions in the first half of this race. I don't exactly know what happened. I saw at one point Logano was leading, and then I look over again and he was involved in a crash. And I guess he pitted at a point and then got caught up in an incident with Chase Briscoe in the back. And that's unfortunate for him. This is looking really good for Logano to try and rebound. And I don't know.
I'm not going to lie.
Our Sonoma race.
The strategy of this race, I'm still confused.
Yeah.
Because I didn't follow it the first half. And because Larson was on I don't even know if it was the alternate strategy, because he was running up front all day. So where he was the last to pit, right?
Yeah.
Because I saw them trying to flip the stage at the end of stage 2, but then everyone that stayed out at the end of stage 2 continued to stay out. So I'm thinking the cautions had something to do with that. They kind of probably put people on different schedules, which it was cool, but Larson ended up obviously coming out with it. They put him on offense. It's so hard to pass at the road course, but he had fresher tires, and surprisingly on the repaved tires still mattered. And I was even concerned when he caught Truex and Buescher. I was concerned because I thought the tires were going to equalize out a little bit. And certainly he didn't just fly by them, but he stayed patient. He eventually did get past them. They were kind of battling each other, so it made it a little bit easier for him. Pretty good racing, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, still a next-gen road course race, but we still saw, obviously, I mean, there were some mistakes made yesterday with all the wrecks. And
Yeah.
maybe that was because, the drivers were going a lot harder than they normally do because they weren't trying to save tires because it was a repave. I don't know, but
Right. And I'm assuming because Martin Truex Jr. ran out of fuel on the last lap and the whole crowd erupted in cheers when he got pushed across the line. That was very cute. But my assumption is that he ran out of fuel because he was pushing really hard to get around Chris Buescher. I'm assuming that's what the result was there. But that was a lot of fun to watch. And then why do you have a 0 on your calculator?
no, why do I have a calculator? I think some NASCAR crew chiefs need to remember these exist because this is the second week in a row someone's ran out of fuel. And maybe it's just Fox doing a really bad job of telling us the situation. But Blaney had no idea he was going to run out of fuel. I don't think Truex had any idea he was going to run out of fuel either.
Right.
So what's going on? Is it the lack of practice time and the crew chiefs don't actually know what their fuel mileage is? Because for this to happen 2 weeks, it's like the scoring pylon thing. For it to happen 2 weeks in a row is just weird.
Right.
It's just it's a little silly.
Right.
Silly crew chiefs. Not putting enough gas in their car.
I don't know. James Small makes quite a bit of questionable calls sometimes, though. So I have to wonder.
Well, we talk about Martin Truex, and there's still the question up in the air if he's coming back next year or not.
Yeah.
So looking more and more likely he's going to get on that boat next year.
We said that 2 years ago, too. I don't know.
But now he's starting to say slurs on the radio, so I don't. I think with whoa, dude. I don't know. You should know.
I laugh.
That's not.
I laugh because it's he's just so fed up. He don't care no more.
I love seeing Martin mad. I do love seeing him mad. Be nice if he didn't. I'll let him say the F slur.
He shouldn't do that. You would let him say the F slur?
I personally would let him. I'm not speaking for anybody else, but I would personally let him because I love him so much. So.
Well, someone who does not love another person is Kyle Busch. He was spun by Ross Chastain in the last lap. And Zach, you put out a tweet that was asking everyone, hey, when's Kyle Busch going to throw this race away? Because he's running top 5. And then Kyle Busch spins on the last lap. That was very funny.
I mean, it's an every week thing with him. He's like the Colton Herta of NASCAR right now. He's just throwing away all these really good results. And it's literally every single week, a top 10 run at Gateway, a top 5 run here. Now, to be fair, I think it's not completely his fault that this, I wouldn't even put this on him because Ross Chastain forgot where his brake pedal was and just completely ran over the 8. Let's not ignore that. I mean,
did you see the post-race clip of Kyle giving an interview being the guy just, I don't know exactly what he said, but he was he just doesn't know how to drive, keep it off other people's cars. And then the camera pans and Ross Chastain is standing right next to Kyle. I thought that was very funny.
I did not see that. What?
I'll have to find it and send it to you.
That's so weird.
Yeah, but poor Kyle Busch. Poor Kyle Busch. He's just having a very bad season. Zach, we've talked about it before.
So many points.
You're on the record many times saying Kyle Busch will never win a race again, period. He's now in the longest winless streak of his career, is Kyle Busch.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Really?
Because I forget which year it was. Remember when he didn't win all year, but then he won at Texas late season?
That's not true, because in 2020, he went the whole year without winning, and he had half a season added to that. That doesn't add up.
But it was a year. He's now past a year. He has never gone past a year.
No, honey. So he won at the end of 2020 at Texas, right?
Yes.
His previous... Oh, never mind, because he won the Homestead race in 2019. You're right. Okay.
Yes.
Right. I'm sorry. I thought he went... Yeah.
So it's now been longer than a year, and he's never gone longer than that. He's still won a race every year of his career.
That's impressive.
That is potentially... Yeah, it is potentially in jeopardy again. I wouldn't rule it out, but Zach, you're definitely...
I mean, Austin Cindric can win a race, but...
Yeah.
This 8 team, I mean, he's just Kyle Busch. I haven't seen anything positive from Kyle Busch in so long. He's going and doing these Xfinity races, and he can't even win them. So it's I don't know, man. He used to, smoke these boys. So, what's going on? I don't know. Austin Hill's having trouble winning lately, though, too, so...
Oh, we'll talk about him in a minute. But staying on Kyle Busch, let's add in Joey Logano as well, because Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, they are the only multi-time champions in the Cup Series field full time right now. And those two are both outside the playoffs right now. Kyle Busch is
Big deal.
-8, Joey Logano is -15. That's huge. I don't exactly like where Kyle Busch is. I feel like Logano gets better. I know he's -15, but he was looking pretty good. Sonoma, he obviously won North Wilkesboro. I feel like Ford's getting better and better, and the 8 teams kind of going backwards.
Yeah, and
So it's
Logano,
follow.
he had a stretch in the spring where he was actually, running pretty consistent. He got, you remember when he finished second at Richmond, he ran good at Martinsville, led laps. So, and, Penske showed speed at St. Louis, which is very promising at least.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, he's still got a bit of a hole to come out of. Like, yes, he's only 16 back, but, remember all those DNFs he got at the beginning of the season?
Yeah.
And now, his last kind of streak of, he not threw away, but he lost a lot of points yesterday that were kind of sitting there on the table for him. It's a little concerning. And I think I like the conversation about, we see every even numbered year, Joey Logano makes the championship 4, contends with the championship. And I'm certainly not saying that that's not possible, but the biggest hurdle right now, I think for him, is making the playoffs, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think once he's in there, I think anything's possible for that Penske team, but there's a lot of things can only get harder from here, is what I'm trying to say. We got a lot of chaotic races coming up, more road courses, Chicago, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm just a little concerned, but I will say, if we go to Daytona and Joey's got a big gap to the cut line,
watch out.
If I were you, I would stay in the back of the field.
And also, with Joey, Cendric's in. I mean, Blaney's not in yet either, but Blaney's better on points.
Yeah.
I'd watch out. Logano would be a menace.
After last week. Remember, Blaney wasn't looking that good on the cut line last week, but now he got a lot of stage points today, and he's looking a lot better.
So that's going to be something to keep following. Bubba Wallace is currently the last driver in on points, +8. And we're going in. We only have 10 races to go to the playoffs, by the way.
Yeah, the race to the chase.
Race to the chase.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much all I had for the Cup race. Because again, we were watching IndyCar and this. It was kind of a lot. Is there anything other points you wanted to mention?
I do like the different strategies. I just wish. One, I wish I understood it, and then 2, I wish Fox explained it to me more, because it didn't make sense to me why they were on separate strategies going into stage 3. And we'll talk about. Do we want to talk? We're going to talk about Fox and the T.
Let's talk about Fox and the T.
Okay, we'll talk about Fox and the T because we got to give them a final little report for this year.
We got a lot to say about IndyCar too, and I want to make sure we get that in. But I'll talk about really quick about the Xfinity race, because that was a really fun race in my opinion. Shane Van Gisbergen won again. He just won at Portland. He wins at Sonoma. And I love this guy so much. He's one of my favorite not cup drivers.
It's hard not
NASCAR
to like
drivers now. Yeah. And you see he's kind of opened the doors, because we also had 2 other supercars drivers come over in the Cup race yesterday. Will Brown, right? And Cam Waters were in the Cup race. They didn't have the races they wanted or anything. But it really shows how impressive SVG was in that Chicago race, right? They come over and just win immediately. And then he now has won back-to-back Xfinity races.
Yeah. He's the man.
Very cool. And then in the cooldown, before that, in the final laps of the race, he has to come up to Austin Hill, who, if you recall at Coda, Hill moved SVG out of the way. And
this was on the restart, I think. It
was a late race restart. And then at Sonoma, Shane pretty much did the exact same thing back to Austin Hill.
He's learning. And
he said as much.
And, Austin Hill gets out of the car. Well, first, on the cooldown lap, while Shane's doing burnouts and stuff, his cool burnout across the track, the coolest thing you can do in a race car, Austin Hill thinks he's trying to do something and give him the middle finger. Which honey, it's not your moment.
Listen, I think that is actually a really cool picture.
It is.
Jeff Gluck retweeted it. It's really good. Austin Hills' middle finger out while Shane's doing his burnout. That is so cool. Like,
Yeah.
that is like
That's
peak
NASCAR, man.
NASCAR.
That is, I love NASCAR.
That's so cool. And wow, Slay of the Week, the Shane Van Gisbergen. I think that's 2 weeks in a row, right? Good for him. Like, he's awesome. I think he's going to be in Cup next year. I really do think he's going to end up Cup full time. He's already in the playoffs in Xfinity. Like, I think he has a lot to learn on the ovals, but I am glad that he's getting Xfinity time rather than going right into Cup like we've seen with like Juan Pablo Montoya, for example, and Sam Hornish Jr. I think he's going to be a championship contender if he can figure out the ovals. I genuinely think he has the talent.
Yeah, he's taken the path of Marcus Ambrose, or Marcus Ambrose still did Xfinity and trucks too. Like, and it's
right.
I mean, I don't know if it helped him directly, but he seemed to do a little bit better. But
right.
I mean, he's already won a Cup Series race, so it's like, and I was arguing with people over the weekend, like, you know, people made excuses because Will Brown looked really fast in practice. Apparently, the 33 car was having electrical issues, which kind of didn't really let him show what he had. So that's a little disappointing. But you know, I hate when people make excuses like on why, like, you know, someone like Shane wins. Like, probably people are saying that, oh, he's just beating all these kids at a road course. Like, no, he's beating AJ Allmendinger. He's beating, who was he racing? Wasn't it Justin Allgaier? Like, Justin Allgaier is like, he's like, or at least he was racing out of Portland. Justin Allgaier is a very good road racer. Like, he's done this for a while now. Like,
yeah. Well, and AJ Allmendinger was in the field. Like, it's not like it's just these no-name people. Like, Sam Mayer's won several Xfinity road course races. He was up there.
Sam Mayer's been doing road racing most of his like life, like his career. Like, that's kind of what he came up doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not like an easy win. So,
definitely not. Well, with that, we'll transition over to IndyCar Road America, and wow, Penske perfect once again.
Penske perfect.
They get their first podium.
They must have been cheating.
That's what a lot of people will tell you. They got their first podium sweep since 2017. Also at Sonoma, coincidentally, Will Power ended up winning the race. He won on an overcut, which I did not expect.
That was so weird to me because it was. I mean, all three of the Penske cars were like overcutting each other, and at first I'm like, well, certainly, why would that work? Because they kind of had clean air in front of them, but the lap car of Nolan Siegel was kind of up ahead, so maybe. Well, that would have made the overcut worse because, like, why would you stay on the track and follow Nolan Siegel? So that doesn't make sense. But Will Power did it, and Power, I mean, he had a huge gap to Joseph when he came out. Of course, cold tires kind of closed it up, but then Joseph couldn't get past him. So it's like that was a really interesting part of that race with the strategy. I don't understand why the overcut was so powerful. You know,
I really don't know how that happened because wasn't Will Power third?
He was third.
Behind McLaughlin too.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you.
Like, I'm guessing they pushed really hard on their end lap. Like, after Joseph pitted, he just pushed really, really hard, which it worked. And then he held Joseph off. I mean, didn't make a mistake. And it's almost like all three of those cars are so good and so equal. It's like their track position. That's just how they're going to stay. Right?
Yeah.
But we did see, like, Joseph and Scott, they battled. When were they battling? Was that, like... That was right after pit stops, wasn't it?
It was more middle of the race, but they had that was so much fun on the blend. One of them was coming off the pits. I forget which way it was. And then the other was on the track and everything. NBC does such a great job covering that, by the way, of tracking, making sure that they get both the car coming off the pits and the car that's on the track and just seeing how they're going to meet on the track.
And they actually,
it was so much fun to watch.
They acted like they want to be there too, which is nice.
Exactly. Yeah. Unlike the other network that IndyCar's talking to, but yeah, it was such a fun race. Like, I really enjoyed this. I mean, Penske was 1, 2, 3 pretty much most of the entire race. And then once they were there, they were gone.
Alex Palou was leading the other race that was going on at the same time, but Team Penske though they were gone. They were checked out.
That's
what we saw early in the season. That's what we saw early in the season with St. Pete. Of course, they were cheating, but now, I mean, they just show up to Road America and they're all so fast. Yep. And it's another moment, kind of like Indianapolis 500 qualifying, where all three of them are just filling the top three, the podium, and I don't know. Like, is this they have some comebacks to make for the championship, and this would set up a really good story. I'm very curious to see what's going to happen at Mid Ohio, because traditionally it's, I mean, well, really, Penske and Ganassi, they win all the races at this point, but I feel like Mid Ohio leans a little bit more to Ganassi. So
Right.
I don't know historically, but obviously that doesn't matter right now. So.
But I was going to say, this is such a shift from the past couple of years because Alex Palou's just been on another planet, right? And Penske hasn't been as good, at least the 2-car hasn't been as good on the road and street courses. But here we are. I know Indianapolis road course, that happened. But other than that, Penske's been across the board spectacular.
Did they have their engineers back?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just for the month of May.
Interesting. Then maybe that had something to do with their speed. They were spending that month off studying.
Maybe
that was just a play. That was a strategy to have them suspended. Those cheaters.
You're gonna give them more things to say. Oh,
Speaking of, I have to grab something. I'll be right back. You get off with the next one.
Yes. Oh, I cannot wait, guys. Just wait. So then there was an incident on lap 1 that kind of, classic IndyCar race. They have a rough start, lap 1. Linus Lundqvist got his first career pole. That was really cool. Marcus Armstrong was up there as well. And unfortunately, they got together on the very first lap. And it caused a bit of a crash. There was a stack up. And Colton Herta gets spun by Joseph Newgarden, public enemy number 1, if you ask certain people. And Colton Herta, he did recover to 8th place. But then he says he would have to shoot somebody in the head to get a penalty on Joseph, and I think that is a insane comment, and he should be penalized for that.
Insane. That is insane. I think he saw everyone else getting attention this week for off-track things that they were saying and doing, and he was like, you know what? I want to do that too. I want to say something really completely ridiculous too. Yeah. Like, so this whole lap 1 incident, I'm going to get into this. I have a lot to say about this right now because, and there's a bunch of layers to it. This one, Linus Lundqvist, well, Marcus Armstrong, he just got a little too excited, I think. He just got a little too excited. It's a lap 1 incident. He hit his teammate. That is embarrassing for Ganassi. Ganassi had a really embarrassing day yesterday with literally all of their cars except Polo. They had weird stuff going on.
Oh, yeah, because Dixon finished like 22nd, by the way.
Because he had that weird tire. His tires were like blistering and coming apart on one of the stints. Yeah. It was like, what? I don't know. So Colton Herta has this whole issue with, Joseph Newgarden should have been penalized. These guys in front of him are wrecking and causing the whole thing, but he wants to worry about Joseph because Joseph was the one who spun his car out. Sure. Right.
So what is Joseph supposed to do, by the way? Is he just supposed to slam on the brake and let everyone else keep running into him?
IndyCar,
it's a stack up, and he's like 1 second to react.
Avoidable contact, right? Yeah. That is not avoidable contact. It's the start of the race. Things are happening really fast. And where Joseph was, people kept using this onboard. Joseph was getting off of the corner, and that's, I don't know if you know about racing, but that's when you accelerate. When you get off the corner, go into the straightaway, that's when you are accelerating. At that exact same time, Colton Herta is checking up for the crash. Colton Herta did not do anything wrong. However, Joseph was hitting the gas and could not react in time. It was not possible. And now people might be like, well, why would Joseph hit the gas pedal into a wreck? Honey.
You didn't know they were wrecking.
Yes, we can see it on the onboard that they're wrecking in front of Herta. Joseph is sitting lower in the car, cannot see that. He can't see that, right?
And happens so fast.
I mean, he's going to assume that the pole sitters are not running out of talent, but I guess he should have considered that it's Linus Lundqvist and Marcus Armstrong. Not even like to throw shade at them. I'm just like, they didn't need to do all that on lap 1. But anyways, and that's not avoidable, right? That's a contact that's not avoidable, in my opinion, for the 2-car.
I agree.
There's no way you can avoid that. Either he has to predict that that's going to happen and slam on the brakes or go off into the grass. I don't know. It's racing. It happens. And Herta, I mean, his car wasn't even that damaged from it. Like, yes, you spun, lost track position, but you recovered and finished 8th. I don't know. Herta also would not have been in that position. I'm going off. If he did not if he didn't lose a little bit of position on the start, he started second. He didn't get a good start. He was sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, I just don't understand why Colton likes to whine about Team Penske so much. He said a lot of like, weird things around when the penalty was announced at Barber. He thought they were lying, which sure, whatever. It's just like, I feel like Colton is so focused on Team Penske when he needs to focus on actually like getting these races finished out and getting a win. Because like, sure, Joseph took him out today or whatever. Didn't really take him out. He still finished sixth. But every other week, Colton, there's another guy taking the 26 car out of contention. And it's you, brother. Yeah. I mean, it is.
The Indy 500, Detroit, there's like dozens of other examples from the past couple years.
Like, he still got a good finish today, and all he can think about is Penske. All he can say after the race is that he wants to shoot race control in the head. Like, what? That's insane. And you're letting Roger live rent-free up in your mind. And what's really funny is that at Long Beach, Colton did the exact same kind of thing. He rear-ended Joseph, shut Joseph's gearbox off. Joseph lost track position. Colton didn't get a penalty. And if anything, I would say that's more avoidable than what Joseph did at Road America. Because you knew Joseph was slowing up in the hairpin. Maybe he was kind of getting stacked up from Dixon and stuff, because Dixon was kind of holding them back. But still, like, you hit a car that was normally just on the racing line, racing surface. They weren't wrecking in front of them. I mean, I don't know if we needed to hit his gearbox. So I have something to give out.
Oh.
I need to give out the crying towel. Because Colton Herta, not even just Colton Herta. I got the big crying towel today. I got the huge
wow, that is
towel.
A big crying towel.
Because Colton Herta needs to share it with everyone that's on social media, painting Joseph Newgarden as this evil villain for accelerating off of turn one. How dare you accelerate off turn one, Joseph? I just think Colton Herta has other things he needs to prioritize. So here's a crying towel, Colton. He still got a good finish yesterday, and all he can talk about is Joseph wrecked me. I'm the one supposed to take my car out of the race, not Joseph. It's ridiculous. Like, maybe if Colton's so upset about Team Penske being cheaters and their unfair racing, maybe he could go to Formula One like he wanted to, right? Maybe Williams, maybe they can get rid of Logan Sargent. If they want another American to wreck their cars every race, maybe they can get Colton Herta to do that for them. Maybe that would make Colton happier. Because then, listen, Colton, if Colton's running back in 20th, then no one's going to rear end him on turn one. Yeah. The only time he'll have to worry about that is when Verstappen is lapping him, and Verstappen actually has talent, so he won't hit Colton Herta in the back. So then Colton can go back to just wrecking himself out of the race and not having to worry about Team Penske wrecking him out of the race, right? And, what a frustrating day for Colton Herta. Man, awful day, right, Alex? Finishing P6?
P8.
P8? Really? I thought you finished P6.
So. 8.
I only finished 8. Last week I finished outside the top 20. I missed that. And he had such normal comments after the race, such as he's going to bring a gun and shoot somebody in the head at race control. That's a normal thing to say, especially in IndyCar this week. It's up there. It's up there for the most normal things everyone said this week, I guess. Why would you say that? Why? That is insane. You can't say that.
And obviously he's not being serious, but it's why would you say that? Why would you say something like that? Especially when there have been death threats within the series. You gotta be, come on, wake up.
IndyCar's just having a great time after the Indy 500. If you chose to follow IndyCar, either you're welcome or I'm sorry. I don't know. I don't know which one. I don't know. Maybe race control wants to be put out of their misery because they're tired of throwing cautions for the 26 car every week. Maybe they want to be put out of their misery. There's Colton Herta again. Let's stop the entire
race
yellow
so
we can get this guy off the track. There we go. I don't know. They're like, dude, worry about your $30 haircut and stop worrying about what Joseph Newgarden's doing, about what Team Penske's doing. Because frankly, you haven't won in 2 years. Will Power just ended his winless streak. You can do what he's doing and focus on your car, focus on the race. Stuff happens, right? He's still got to get. Isn't he still like top 5 in the championship? Like he's still kind of up there in the championship. Maybe not. I don't know. Detroit kind of took him back.
I think where you're getting 6 from, I think he's 6 in points.
Ooh, maybe if he didn't crash himself out of Indy.
You know what? Just a month ago, he was the points leader. Like just before.
I wonder what happened. Must have been those cheating Team Penske cars. They must have been the ones taking him out of the points lead. I should have went to Formula One. All these IndyCar teams are cheating. Roger Penske's too old to have a cheating race team. Oh, I hope you guys are going to be okay. Poor Joseph Newgarden, he's so evil. He was walking by fans without saying hi after the
race. He waved at Scott when he passed Scott for the lead. He's so mean and so manipulative.
This is the devil's language. What is this? My children were watching that. My children were watching when he did this.
Yeah, the what's up, dude. That kind of. He's so mean. What does he mean by that?
And then Joseph brought up Bus Bros on Twitter, and obviously that means he's trying to bully Scott McLaughlin.
The day before, and Joseph didn't go to Scott's birthday party. That obviously means they hate each other.
Well, he didn't. What?
Yeah.
When was his birthday party?
It was last night. His birthday's today.
Oh. Well, Joseph probably wanted to go home.
Joseph has a child.
That's true.
He has other things to do.
He doesn't. Yeah, that's true. He doesn't really have, because they're probably out all night drinking and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Well, that was lovely. Thank you, Zach. Congratulations, Colton Herta, on the Crying Towel. That is well deserved. Your first win of the year. Probably the only win of the year. Congratulations. I will say, I think Colton's next shot to win is probably the next race, Laguna Seca. But if you don't win there, yeah.
When is it? Not this weekend.
2 weeks on June 23rd is Laguna.
I thought Mid Ohio was the next race. I was prepared for Mid Ohio. All right.
I think Mid Ohio is 4th of July weekend.
That makes sense. All right. Yeah, Laguna Seca. That's a good track for Colton. I'm excited to see how he's going to take himself out of that one. Looking forward to it.
Hope it's something different. Hope it's he mixes it up this time. I hope.
Those damn cheating Penskes.
Well, that was fun. And Zach, you know what else is fun? It's everybody's favorite segment, the tea.
The tea. When we talk about the latest motorsports gossip and news. The tea.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm so excited.
And oh my gosh, guys,
especially after all that crying.
Yeah, especially after all that crying, you need a sip of tea. You need to relax a bit. We're starting this tea off with some very cool news. Jamie Chadwick, Slay of the Week to her because she won the Indy Next Race at Road America. She's the first woman to win on a road or street course in that series, and she's the first woman since Pippa Mann in 2010. It's been 14 years since a woman has at all won an Indy Next, and that was at Kentucky.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. And by the way, I'm pretty sure she led every single lap of the Indy Next Race.
And I saw some people, because it was from pole. Like, this wasn't weird circumstances. Yeah. Like, she led from pole. Like, that was a straight up win. Very impressive. Yeah. And I saw some people mention like the stats from the Atlantic series. Like, it was like Champ Cars, like Indy Lights series, basically. Like Simona Di Silvestro and Catherine Legg won in that series too. So they wanted to include them in the stat. Either way, I mean, this is a big deal for a woman to win an Indy Next Race. It's been 14 years. And, obviously being a woman, there's an extra microscope on Jamie Chadwick, always. So I don't know if that's been the case. Like in NASCAR, at least we do that with like Haley Deegan. I don't know if that's been the same with Jamie Chadwick, but, she does have results. She's a 3-time W Series champion. This is cool. I think this is really cool. I'm glad that she's chosen this path too, to, you know, the road to Indy. And this is a star in the making, of course. I mean, you know, little girls everywhere are going to love to see her at the Indianapolis 500. We saw kind of the promotion with Catherine Legg and all that. So,
right.
Slay. And obviously
Yes.
she knows what she's doing. Nice win. Nice dub.
Yeah.
W's help. W's help.
And now, staying with IndyCar here, David Malukas is back. He'll be in the 66 car at Meyershank Racing starting at Laguna Seca. And he'll be replacing Tom Blomqvist. Elio Castroneves was in the car this weekend and last weekend. And this is cool, right? I'm happy to see David back.
I am glad to see David back instead of him just sitting like at home. Or, well, honestly, they've been keeping him busy. IndyCar Social's been doing a good job using him.
Yeah, but the thing that bothers me about this is that you and I, when the news dropped, like, oh, that makes sense. Like, you know, McLaren, they need this car to run. And also this contract David had signed, like it says in there, like, hey, if you don't run a certain amount of races, we can kick you out of the car. And does that suck? Yeah, it does. But then Meyershank Racing pulled Tom Blomqvist out of the car, out of the Indy 500. For seemingly no reason. I know Tom crashed a lap 1, but basically the exact same thing happened to Tom Blomqvist, and no one cares. But
if anything, it's worse because Tom wasn't even injured.
Right. And yet we're celebrating in the streets because David Malukas is back. Guys, he replaced someone for the same exact thing that just happened to David. And you don't care. I don't.
It is a bit of a double standard, isn't it?
It's a huge double standard.
I don't know. It's just
so you only cared because it was David. You don't actually care about drivers and their
drivers and
whatever.
I know, because they were preaching in April, like, oh wow, we can't just be treating drivers like this, and drivers should be able to, you know, the contract should be honored and they shouldn't lose their rides. Well, apparently, if you're Tom Blomqvist and you're not lighting the world on fire in your eighth
rookie season
race in your rookie season, sorry, buddy, you're out. Nope, we got to make room for our twink. This twink right here. Happy Pride Month.
And look, Tom Blomqvist will probably end up at Meyershank Racing's IMSA team. It's likely coming back next year, and he's going to do great there. We've already seen how he does there. Yeah. But like, why not let him finish a full IndyCar season? I don't what's he going to do now? He has nothing to do, right?
I don't know. He's cute. He could do what David Malukas was doing. Or, well, I mean, Humgo's Hollinger Racing might need somebody.
That's true. I don't know. 78 car might be open.
Unless we want Nolan Siegel, which I love Nolan Siegel. So maybe we want Nolan Siegel instead.
So, yeah, like, this is cool. I'm happy David's back. But I just wanted to call that out. I'm just like, I don't think people actually cared the way they say they do.
No, they didn't. It's all right. We're evil. Yeah. We're evil. We're Joseph fans. We're evil. We hate
We're the bad guys.
We have such bad takes. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, well. Speak of having bad takes, you know what was actually really good this weekend? Was Formula One.
They were good. I feel like their race was better than NASCAR's race. I will say. Might have honestly been race of the weekend, because like, you can't beat a rain race. You can't beat a wet weather race. There were drivers making mistakes and squirreling, and strategy was insane. It had everything.
The start, just early portion of the race when Kevin Magnussen was flying through the field.
Yeah, because they had full wet tires and everyone else started intermediates. It ended up not really. I think it did gain them a few net positions. Although then I think K-Mag had that awful stop because he came in and his pit crew wasn't even ready. They should go over. They should go over to NASCAR. I know Haas is closing, but they should. Those are the type of people that probably calculated Martin Truex Jr.'s fuel. Like, come in, except we're not ready. Like, what?
But like, even despite Max Verstappen winning this race, it didn't feel like we had a clear winner for a very long time. Because at one point, I thought Lando Norris was going to win this race. At another point, it looked like George Russell was going to win it. Like, I was pretty entertained throughout the whole race. And I think this is the first F1 race I've watched all year from start to finish. And I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the product. And I mean, why wouldn't you be? Because Lando on that strategy, he was also trying to do an overcut. and it's seemingly like it was going to work because he was running up front. Verstappen already pitted, and he was building the gap. I don't know what, if anything, really costed him, but Lando had a lot of trouble like on the pit exit and like getting traction down. But I think Verstappen was probably going to pass him after that. But again, it was so close. Like
Yeah.
and you know what's been a theme of F1 this last month or so is Verstappen looks very mortal. Like he's not winning these races by 20 seconds, or he's not winning these races, right? He didn't win Monaco.
Right.
That's a different kind of, beast, of course, but we saw him lose at Miami to Lando. Lando was on his gearbox at Imola, right? And now we see again, Max finishes first, Lando finishes second. It makes me want to pay attention to Formula One because yes, is Verstappen probably going to win the championship? Probably, but I don't think it's going to be easy. And it's certainly not going to be easy to win the rest of the races with the way McLaren and Lando and Piastri, even the way they're running.
I think Max easily wins the championship. I think that's already a foregone conclusion. But it is more intriguing to like kind of follow F1 than it was, say, like 2 months ago. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, can we mention why is Sergio Perez? Why is he missing? Why is he getting eliminated in Q1, number one, in the fastest car on the grid? Oh, but the car is built for Max, bro. I don't care. Like,
that's still a fast car. He shouldn't be missing.
Just drive it. Just drive the car. Like what? Like,
I'm shocked that they re-signed him. By the way,
yeah. So
I thought for sure they weren't going to. I thought they were going to bring in Signs. That's what I thought was going to happen.
In that car, dude.
Right?
Yeah,
get him out of IndyCar.
Then again, he's not even terrorizing IndyCar anymore, so I don't really care. But get Colton Herta in it. If all you have to do is get eliminated in Q1, Colton Herta, he's your man. He might even wreck it. He might even wreck it too, so it doesn't look as bad.
Colton can qualify good. It's just a race that he's not the best at.
See, it'd be better if Sergio was at least wrecking out of Q1, but no, he's just slow.
Yeah.
Colton Herta, he'll wreck the car, so it won't look like he's slow.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, this is a fun F1 race. I was actually very impressed with it. And
I'm still not buying the video game. Do not buy F1 2024. It looks awful. It looks EA sucks. It looks so bad. The handling's stupid. Man. They have so many glitches. I've been following.
That's such a bummer.
Because the F1 game used to be peak.
Yeah.
Like 2020, 21, even 23. I got 23 last year and I had fun with it, but now I'm an iRacing boy anyways. I don't need to race against computers. So or F1 fans. I definitely don't want to race against F1 fans.
Well, let's wrap up the tea because NASCAR on Fox, their portion of the NASCAR season came to an end. They had their final Xfinity broadcast
this is the best
potentially ever.
Pride. That's the best
Happy
thing.
Pride.
Fox is done. NBC is here.
Yes. And let's give them kind of a little review of the season because we talk about them quite a bit especially when they're bad.
I feel like we stopped talking about them though because it was just getting
kind of gave up. It's just like we're saying the same thing every week. It's bad. Okay,
I think
whatever.
It has reached a peak with the social media criticism. It has reached a peak this year. So I'm curious on what is going to happen next year with the new TV deal. The talent's going to stay the same, but also Race Hub is ending. When is the final show? Is that tomorrow?
Tomorrow, as of recording this.
I think I want to watch it. I feel like I'm going to cry though. I cried when Steve Burns died. Like I might cry. The show means a lot to me. So it's definitely, and it was also their final Xfinity Series broadcast as they go to the CW all of next year. And it's going to be a different kind of era for Fox Sports and NASCAR. They might even have IndyCar as well. So we'll see how, maybe we won't have two races on at the same time, or maybe one of them will be on FS2. But how did they do this season in our opinion? And I mostly want to talk. I mean, obviously the camera work is awful. They're showing fans in the stands during important moments way too much. They're too zoomed in. The narrative isn't focused on what needs to be focused on. I had no idea what the strategy was yesterday. Blah, blah, blah. We talked about that so many times.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting that I believe they said this on the teardown because I think Jordan interview Mike Joy? Or was it Jeff? One of them did.
It was Jordan.
Yeah. So, and it's like, Kevin Harvick coming into the booth has really re-energized the Fox booth and has kind of brought them back. And, he's really given a lot of criticism and a new perspective straight out of the car. And especially that part about the criticism that Kevin gets. He's like, he's going to be really hard. And Kevin said that himself, right? Before he jumped in the booth. I'm going to be very, straight up with these guys, tell them how it is, what needs to happen. That's BS. Yeah. Because either he's not saying it loud enough or they're not listening. You know what I mean?
I would bet it's the latter one, because they most definitely see what's said on social media, because Mike Joy called people keyboard warriors last year for not liking their coverage. Like, Fox just doesn't care. They double down on any of the criticisms that they've been given. And that booth yesterday, they were asleep. They weren't telling you anything that was happening. If, like, you and I, we basically tuned in fully after stage 2, and they didn't explain what was going on at all.
Yeah.
So if you're just like a super casual fan, you tune in, you're not going to know what's going on.
They're talking about random stuff. And that's the thing, especially for the road course race, because the road course strategy is really stupid, right? They're flipping stages and stuff. You need to explain that to the casual fan that's tuning in on Fox, right? Or maybe it was FS1. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But the worst part is not only are they asleep, but it's like Mike Joy will say something and then it's...
Like Mike Joy, what you're saying, he'll set up a question for both Clint Boyer or Kevin Harvick to answer. And then neither of them answer it. And it's just silent. And I think what's happening, I think what it is when that happens is Harvick doesn't want to talk because he thinks Clint's going to just start rambling, right? And doesn't want to interrupt him. I think that's literally probably what it is.
Kevin's probably looking at Clint. He's like, all right, come on. Talk.
And then Clint has nothing to say because he brings nothing insightful to the booth. He's just there.
Clint's like that TikTok of like the dogs, and it's like, today I saw a balloon. I don't know if he's...
I have.
Okay. Today I saw a balloon.
Oh man, that's funny.
That's all he's thinking. Or like the Jimmy Neutron thing with the monkey, and it's like hitting.
Yeah.
What are they called? The symbols.
The symbols.
The symbols. Yeah. That's all he's thinking about.
Man,
it's so bad though. They're just sitting there and they're like, it's like that meme of Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race, and it's like they're all just drinking water and then they're silent. They're like, gulp.
Yes, it's not good. I honestly think they should not have gotten the new TV deal. They really shouldn't have been in on it. I know they bring money, and NASCAR probably don't really care that much, but they are hindering the growth of the sport. If they get IndyCar, they might actually kill IndyCar.
They might actually kill IndyCar. Actually,
like, no one's going to watch it, and all the optimistic IndyCar only fans are going to be in for a very rude awakening because they do not care. Fox does not care about you. They do not care about the series. They're just there for money. And the reason they went in on IndyCar is for the Indianapolis 500. And they're losing the 600, which happens to be on the same day. That's the only reason they went IndyCar. They're not interested about anything else.
Yeah.
So get ready for that in case that happens. But
I'm very excited for NBC, of course. And we were talking with someone yesterday on Twitter, and they were kind of counterpointing our Fox complaint with, well, Rick Allen has very insightful calls of Blaney, Harvick, Blaney, and Harvick.
And I responded saying, well, that's going to be fixed this year because Rick Allen ain't going to be in the NBC Cup booth starting later in the year. That's not officially confirmed, by the way, but that's been reported quite a lot. But Lee Diffie is going to be in the Cup booth after the Olympics. So it's like, well, if that's your only problem, that's going to
also, at least Rick wants to be there. At least Rick
like Rick's excited and happy to be in the booth, and everyone knows Lee Diffie is. And Steve Letart's brilliant. I think Jeff Burton's my only complaint with NBC's booth, but like
Why are you hating?
I'm not hating.
You are. My only complaint is Jeff Burton. What's your complaint with Jeff Burton?
He's just not the greatest, but he's better, in my opinion, than Harvick right now, and he's better than Boyer by like 20 million times. Like, I put him in the Fox booth, and they'd wake the hell up because he'd be yelling, like, "Wake up!"
Jeff be having a stroke. And Clint would be like, whoa, is this guy dying? Like, what?
Yeah.
He's trying to say SVG's name. And
yeah. I don't know. I'm glad Fox's part of the season's done. It's going to be whiplash once again, as it always is for the first NBC race, which will be at Iowa this weekend. I'm excited for that because Iowa's probably going to be a very strategy-heavy race, especially since they've repaved
the Frankenstein repave.
Yeah, they only did like the bottom of the corners, so it's not going to be multi-groove, which I was hoping for, really.
Yeah,
but so Steve Letarte will break down all the strategies, though. So I think we're actually going to it's going to feel like a better race than it probably actually is. And if it was on Fox, we'd be like, oh my God, please let it end. Because they wouldn't be telling anything that was happening. So I don't know. Fox will get nominated for Flop of the Year, definitely. I don't know if it was as bad as last year, though. Like, it was bad. But like
I feel like this year was worse because we thought Kevin Harvick would come in and fix things, and then it just got seemingly worse.
Yeah. It's the production side. I think if the production was a little better, the booth would be slightly better because
the booth can't really do their job.
When Truex ran out of gas, Fox had no intention of showing it, but Boyer, credit to him, was yelling like, "Oh my gosh, Truex is out of gas!" And it took the production booth like a couple seconds to pan the camera back to Truex.
It's like they only care about the winner. They only care about the leader of the race at all times.
And they also missed the third place battle in the Xfinity race, which was side-by-side battle. They cut away from the finish line to go to an onboard of SVG. Like they just don't know how to produce a NASCAR race. They really don't.
So you definitely don't want them producing an IndyCar race because that would be.
Thankfully, if they do get IndyCar, most of the production is by IMS Productions. So like the camera work will probably not be by Fox, but it's the on air and the graphics would still be Fox. But we'll see what happens. That could be different if that ends up happening. Anyway, I was talking about Iowa. NASCAR is going to Iowa Speedway for the very first time.
Yeah.
And Zach, it's time for fantasy.
Let me pull up the fantasy graphic.
So I've had my pick. I've had my pick for a while.
Interesting.
Let me grab a picture.
You've had it for a while. Like what does a while mean? Like weeks?
Yeah.
Okay, I have mine too then. What the?
Okay, are you ready?
I am ready. All right. 3, 2, 1. I'm trying to pick Kyle Larson, and Alex is trying to pick Joey Logano because it's a brand new racetrack. Okay, well,
he won North Wilkesboro. That is a short track. And also Joey Logano always wins these new tracks, and I think he's getting better. Penske's been having more speed.
He did win.
I think it's gonna be Logano. Yep,
Penske was fast. Okay, fair enough. Well. Larson's the GOAT.
And you know what? You can have Kyle Larson for once.
Well, I didn't just pick Kyle. Well, listen, I didn't just pick Kyle Larson. Do you know why I picked Kyle Larson? Because he ran the tire test.
Oh, that's a good reason. Okay.
He ran the tire test, so he's got laps.
Yeah.
He's got laps. He'll be good. He'll be fast. Don't worry about it.
I like Logano, though, because you go back to Richmond, I would say it's a pretty similar track. Logano was running pretty good at Richmond as well. So I like that.
That is a good pick. All right. I mean, this is a good opportunity for Logano, actually. Yeah. That's a good pick.
Get the win. Don't have to worry about the playoff picture, and then you can just start building on for the playoffs. Like, I think he's in a pretty good spot. I know Sonoma didn't end well, but yeah.
Fair enough.
And that's probably the fastest fantasy segment we've had all year.
I know. I'm glad I finally got Kyle Larson for once.
Yeah. I'm happy for you. NASCAR, our points are, I have 10 points. Zach has 8. There's no IndyCar fantasy because our next race again is on June 23rd at Laguna Seca. Over there, it is Zach has 6 and I have 4. I am catching up to you. I almost tied you. If Joseph would have won, I would have tied, but not quite there.
I was very nervous yesterday about Joseph. Very conflicted as well. So.
Right.
Because I would have loved if he just got that win and is like, I'm the championship favorite.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Well, that is an end to another episode. Before you go, make sure, or after you go and check out the Travis Shoemake episode. it was the episode just before this. It's on YouTube. It's on podcast platforms. So much fun. We love Travis. Make sure you support him. Go watch NHRA races or whatever you like. Go follow him on Instagram and everything. Like, he's so lovely to us, and we're happy to have him. And you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. If you leave a 5-star written review on Apple, we'll read it. Or a nice comment, and we'll also read it, such as this comment from Brianna Rising on YouTube. They said, I recently discovered your podcast thanks to TikTok. Follow us on TikTok. As I got more into motorsports, I am so glad I came across your podcast. Happy Pride. Thank you, Brianna.
Oh, thank you so much.
Love it.
Yeah.
And you can support us on Patreon for guest episodes. We did this with the Travis Shoemaker one. You can give us questions for guests early over there. You can get early access and stuff like that. Patreon.com/gayracingpod. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on socials at Gay Racing Pod, at Dreamy Zack Racing, and at Newgaden.
Yeah. And follow us on TikTok, and shout out to our good friend Taylor Kitchen, because she just hit 10,000
That's amazing
on TikTok. So we got to catch up to her.
Yeah. We got a long way to go.
We got a long way to go. So follow us on TikTok. Thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode. We will see you next week to talk about NASCAR at Iowa. It'll be Father's Day weekend, so happy Father's Day to all the Joseph Newgarden fans.
Yes.
our I don't know what's the word. He's our father in spirit.
Oh yeah. We
Everyone's
support
so
him.
mean to him. We support him so much. All right, we will see you guys then. Take care. Stay safe. Happy Pride Month. Bye-bye.
Bye.